All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're talking about something that is fundamentally changing how businesses operate, becoming an API-first enterprise. And look, this isn't just some tech buzzword. It's a core business strategy that you've got to understand if you want to know how the modern economy actually works.
So, have you ever looked at the market leaders today and just wondered, how on earth are they so fast? I mean, they're launching new things, iterating, and just dominating at a speed that seems impossible. It's the question every leader is asking. And the answer isn't just, they work harder. It's way smarter than that.
Well, here's the secret. It's because they've completely changed the game. They're not just building isolated apps anymore. No, they're building entire digital ecosystems. Think of it like a network where different services can connect, disconnect, and recombine at an incredible pace.
And the stakes here are absolutely massive. According to McKinsey, we're talking about $1 trillion in economic value that's up for grabs in this new API economy. $1 trillion. So yeah, getting this right isn't just a nice to have, it's essential.
Okay, so to really get our heads around this huge shift, we need to first break down a few of the core ideas, the real foundational pillars that are making this all happen. It all starts with something called enterprise architecture. Now, the best way to think about this is like being a city planner for a huge company. Your job is to create the master blueprint that decides where everything goes. The roads, the power lines, the buildings, also the city, or the company, can actually achieve its biggest goals. Next up is the API-first philosophy. And this is a total game changer in how we think about building software. Instead of building your app and then kind of tacking on an API as an afterthought, you start with the API. You treat it like it's the main event, a first-class citizen. It becomes the product. And where does that lead? Well, it leads to the ultimate goal, everything as a service, or XaaS. This is the big idea that basically any capability a company has, I'm talking everything from processing a payment to checking warehouse inventory, can be packaged up and delivered as a simple, consumable service. All right, so now that we have those building blocks, let's zoom in on the most important one. Let's talk about what it really means to live and breathe an API-first philosophy. Just look at this contrast. The old way, code first, was, well, it was a mess. You'd build the app, then some poor soul would have to figure out how to bolt an API onto it later. It created so many bottlenecks. But API first flips that whole script. You design a formal API contract before a single line of implementation code is written. That contract is the law. It's the single source of truth. And because of that, your front-end and back-end teams can work at the exact same time. It's a massive speed boost.
So, if you remember one thing, let it be this. It's all about a mindset shift. You have to stop seeing APIs as just these little technical connectors. You have to start treating them like strategic business products with their own roadmaps, their own customers, the whole 9 yards.
This whole API as a product thing really stands on 3 legs. First, it's design first, meaning that contract we talked about always comes first. Second, it's consumer-centric. You've got to be obsessed with the experience of the developer who's going to use your API. And third, it's all about modularity. Each API is a self-contained, reusable building block.
You know, a philosophy like this doesn't just appear out of thin air. It's actually the result of a long evolution in how we build software, a journey away from these huge, clunky systems of the past. And this table just lays out that journey perfectly. We started with these giant monoliths, right? One single block of code where making one tiny change was slow and super risky. Then we moved to SOA, service-oriented architecture, which was a step in the right direction, but still had these central bottlenecks that slowed everyone down. And that brings us to today to microservices, where small, independent teams can build and deploy their pieces at lightning speed. I mean, the jump in agility and scalability is just night and day.
So this evolution in technology is now leading to an evolution in business strategy. We're moving to the next frontier, the composable enterprise. It's about applying these same ideas to the entire company.
Honestly, the best way to think about it is building with Lego blocks. I'm serious. The business itself is made up of these interchangeable parts called Packaged Business Capabilities, or PBCs. A PBC could be something like process a credit card payment or calculate shipping costs. And the APIs? They're the little studs on top of the Lego block, the universal glue that lets you snap them together to build new products and experiences like never before.
And look, this isn't just a cute analogy.
Gartner did the research. They project that companies that really embrace this composable Lego block way of thinking will outpace their competition by a staggering 80% when it comes to rolling out new features. 80%!
Okay, so understanding the what and the why is one thing. But the billion-dollar question is, how do you actually pull this off? Let's walk through a practical blueprint for making this transformation happen.
You can really break the journey down into 5 pretty clear phases. You've got to start with strategy, figuring out what you have and where you want to go. Then you build a solid foundation with the right tools and rules. And this is so important. You don't try to boil the ocean. You start with a single pilot project to prove that this works and get a quick win. Once you've got that momentum, then you scale the program. And finally, you're always looking to optimize and maybe even monetize your amazing new set of capabilities.
But here's maybe the most critical takeaway of all. This is not a technology project. I'll say it again. This is not a technology project. It's a cultural mandate. It requires a deep shift in how people collaborate and think. And it absolutely has to be driven by a clear, unwavering vision from the very top of the organization. Without that, it's just not going to work.
So to make this all feel a bit more real, let's look at some of the pioneers who've already walked this path. Let's see what we can learn from them.
And you really can't tell this story without talking about Amazon. Way back around 2002, the company was just hitting a wall. Their big monolithic architecture was grinding everything to a halt. So Jeff Bezos issued this radical top-down order that became legendary, the API mandate. It basically forced every team in the company to expose what they did through an API.
And he ended that famous memo with this. This was the kicker. Anyone who doesn't do this will be fired. That wasn't a suggestion, right? That was a condition of employment. It was a dramatic move, but it completely shattered the silos and rewired the entire company. And oh, by the way, it laid the foundation for what would eventually become Amazon Web Services.
Of course, it wasn't just Amazon. Netflix is a great example. They used a single API gateway to manage the insane complexity of hundreds of microservices streaming to all our different devices. And then you've got companies like Stripe and Twilio. Their entire multi-billion-dollar businesses are quite literally just an API as a product. They took something incredibly complex like online payments and made it dead simple for developers.
So, this all leaves us with one final, pretty provocative question you should be asking about your own organization. In this new economy, is your business built like a fortress? Closed off, rigid, defending what you have? Or is it architected like an open, adaptable platform, ready to power the next wave of innovation and growth? Because, honestly, the answer to that question will define your future.